Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film ParaNorman. It's the latest stop-motion animated film from Laika, who previously made the film Coraline. That film directed by Henry Selick. This film is directed by Sam Fell, who did Tales of Despero and Flushed Away, and Chris Butler, who is primarily known, I believe, as a storyboard artist. ParaNorman is about a boy who can see and talk to ghosts. He can talk to his grandma. She sits on the couch while he sits in front of the TV and watches horror movies, and he talks to her. And on his walk to school, he talks to all the ghosts that are there along the way that only he can see and he can talk to, but no one else can, and everyone else thinks he's a freak because of it. It kind of has a horror vibe to it. You can tell, like, the artists and the character designers and everyone who worked on this obviously looked at, like, kind of an art of horror book and really obsessed over it. And, like, Norman loves horror movies. You know, he watches them, I guess, all the time with his grandma, and his room is covered in kind of zombie posters, and there's like a zombie lamp, and he has zombie slippers. Like, he loves horror films. And he's not very well liked. His dad doesn't really get him at all. Gets bullied at school. Norman is told by his uncle, who is the weirdo in the family, who's never met him before but knows he possesses the power as well to speak to the dead, and that he should read from this book at the witch's grave to stop a 300-year-old curse where these people who prosecuted this witch and burned her at the stake will come back from the grave as zombies. So he goes, but then he fails because the bully messes it up, and he actually went to the wrong grave as well. And because he went to the grave of the 7 people, he should have been going to the witch, but he messed that up. And then he has to go and try to stop the zombies and save the town from these zombies and the curse of the witch. There's a lot to like about this film. I like how this film, basically, Norman is an outsider of society. A lot of the things that this film is about, certainly like the witch trials and that he's a freak outside of society and no one really gets him and everyone tells him not to do the things he likes, that it's weird that he watches horror movies, that he's not just like any other kid, and that he has this weird ability, and that separates us from everyone. Everyone just thinks he's strange because of it. I think this talks a lot about how society can really outcast people, but also I think it shows that society can make decisions that aren't exactly great decisions, and that society feels is a good decision. They feel very righteous in that decision, but that doesn't necessarily make it a good decision. Certainly there's a mob mentality scene that goes through that, and the way Norman's treated by everyone, it doesn't make you really like everyone in this New England town. It kind of makes you question it, makes you think, well, why do they hate Norman so much? There's a few times when Norman, like, embarrasses himself, but a lot of times when I'm watching it, I think, like, well, what does this town really have against him? ParaNorman, it definitely has its heart in the right place, and the humor is really funny, but this, much like the Lorax, and kind of my problem with a lot of children's animated films, is that it's just, like, overloaded with jokes. It feels like they don't have any faith in the kids as an audience. They're really relying on these jokes to get the kids through. This film didn't have a tight enough of a structure. When I got to the end, I didn't feel like I was earning any of these moments as an audience member. I just felt like, you know, this is the third act. This is obviously what we do, but I didn't feel as emotionally invested. I didn't feel like they really created a good enough of a character arc, you know, and they do kind of drop the seeing dead people after a while. Like, that doesn't seem to be as important. I mean, it could have just been a kid who liked horror movies, you know, although I like the scenes with him and his grandmother quite a lot. So it's just, I didn't feel like it all connected well enough. And I like Norman as a character. I like his friend Neil. I like a lot of the characters, and I had a good time. And, you know, I'm someone who likes animation, and if ParaNorman comes on TV someday and I don't have anything going on, I probably will watch it. I might even DVR it. I probably will see it again. They maybe also didn't actually watch enough horror movies, you know, for a film that's so, like, this kid's horror thing. It didn't feel like they really got the world of horror movies. They just got the design, and they did that very well. But they just didn't have the kind of the horror knowledge. One thing that really, like, unites this film very well, it's probably the best part of the whole movie, is the score by John Bryan. When you hear a John Bryan film score, you know it instantly. I mean, if you look at things like I Heart Huckabees, The Breakup, Eternal Sunshine, once you hear that John Bryan score, you can tell a very unique kind of John Bryan style. And I like that he showed a lot of versatility in this. He's doing kind of the Carpenter synthesizer horror movie the thing to it as well. He's doing he does a little bit of just typical John Bryan, what you expect from a John Bryan score, but it's a lot more versatile than I was used to. Like when it starts off and they try to act like, it's kind of like a cheaper horror movie, and it goes feature presentation and you can see film grain and stuff, and he does this like cool little score. I mean, I don't even think about it being John Bryan, and I think that's really cool. It doesn't really have the knowledge of horror, it doesn't really have the references there that it needs, although, why advertise that in the trailer? It definitely got a lot of elements of horror. This didn't feel like the directors turned off all the lights and watched some scary zombie movies and watched some horror movies and really got into it. So if you have seen ParaNorman and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.